discover the incredible moment when a lonely CO transformed a little girl's life through dance. Emma stood at the corner of the crowded playground, heart pounding as she watched her classmates giggle and chat. Her expensive shoes felt heavy, a reminder that while she belonged to this affluent school, she often felt like a shadow lurking in the background. All around her were girls with their perfect hair, flashing smiles, and choreographed moves, everything she dreamed of being, yet the whispers of doubt in her mind echoed louder than the music in her heart. Her bedroom at home told a different story, a sanctuary filled with posters of spectacular dancers, each one a hero in Emma's eyes. She longed to move like them, but the world outside seemed determined to weigh her down. In the cramped quarters of their small apartment, Emma's mom worked tirelessly, a dedicated nurse trying to balance long shifts with the single-handed support of their household. The walls were thin, and every moment felt like they were just scraping by, but Emma knew the dream of dancing shimmered just beyond her grasp. Each time she looked in the mirror, she fought back tears as the reflection whispered, "Not enough. You'll never fit in." Across town, an estranged vibrancy lingered in Mark, the CEO of a tech startup teetering on the brink. Loneliness gnawed at him through the nights, as he traded the joy of movement for board meetings and endless reports. The rhythm of his younger years, filled with laughter and dance, was but a distant memory. Seeking something beyond the dull glow of his success, he stumbled upon a community center one evening. There, among the peeling paint and dusty floors, he found Emma bright-eyed and fierce, yet wrapped in a fragile cocoon of doubt. In her, Mark felt the echoes of his own lost passions. "Tell me about your dreams," he asked, leaning against the wall that held faded murals of dance legends. Emma hesitated at first but slowly shared her longing to join the elite dance team at school, a team she felt was forever out of reach. Mark drank in her words. Here was courage personified, and somehow her struggles felt personal. Inspired, he vowed to harness his resources to create free dance classes, an opportunity for kids like Emma to find their rhythm despite the odds. Just when hope began to bloom, chaos struck. A wealthy benefactor sought to squash Mark's program, fearing it threatened their exclusive dance empire. As the threat loomed larger, Mark felt the weight of injustice settle on his shoulders. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The local showcase was upon them, a moment saturated with both anxiety and exhilaration. Emma stood backstage, breaths quickening as she rehearsed her steps, her heart racing at the thought of everything hanging in the balance. Mark watched from the wings, grappling with doubt. Could he be the voice for these overlooked dreams, fighting for a chance to be heard? With the spotlight shining brighter than ever, Emma stepped onto the stage. The hush of the crowd felt electric, pulling her forward. Would she finally embrace her worth? As the music swelled, the moment felt pivotal, not just for her, but also for Mark, who stood on the precipice of change, contemplating the battle they were about to face. Would they rise together or fracture under the weight of their struggles? The answer lingered in the air, heavy with anticipation, as the two worlds collided in a dance of hope, resilience, and sacred dreams. As Emma stepped under the bright lights, a wave of heat washed over her. She squinted into the crowd, searching for familiar faces, and catching a glimpse of her mom, who wore a tentative smile, a flicker of encouragement in her eyes. Mark's presence loomed in her memory, his unwavering conviction that she could achieve her dreams if only she dared to trust in herself. The music pulsed through the air, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Emma could feel every heart in the room leaning in, holding its breath as anticipation coiled tighter. She took a steadying breath, letting the melody seep into her bones, weaving a narrative that was uniquely hers. This moment was about more than just her performance. It was about finding her voice, her strength, and challenging the fears that tried to confine her. As the first note rang out, Emma shut her eyes for just a second. She imagined herself dancing not just for the crowd, but for every girl who ever felt unnoticed, every kid who felt unworthy. The barriers that had held her back began to melt away. With her heart leading the way, she launched into her routine, a mix of elegance and raw energy, each move telling a story she had rehearsed countless times alone. With every turn, every leap, she felt lighter, rising above the tension and the whisper of doubt. The cheers from the audience grew louder, washing over her like a tide of affirmation. Mark stood in the wings, his own heart racing, filled with pride. This was the moment he had longed to see, a spark igniting in Emma that promised to transform them both. But just as the crescendo of her performance reached its peak, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. The wealthy benefactor who sought to crush Mark's dreams was there, his expression a mixture of disbelief and anger. Emma caught the tension and felt a momentary tremor of fear ripple through her. Would his presence eclipse her hard-won moment? She stumbled slightly but quickly regained her composure, channeling her feelings into movement. With a final, soaring leap, she landed with a flourish, the crowd erupting in applause, shaking the very stage she stood upon. Hair disheveled and heart pounding, Emma opened her eyes to see Mark beaming back at her. She felt a rush of exhilaration. She had done it. She had found her place in that moment. Suddenly, the audience, energized by her performance, erupted in shouts of admiration. It was a wave of sound, a fuel for every dream she had kept hidden. However, Emma also sensed the dark cloud of the benefactor's attention, his motivations lurking just beyond the applause. Mark took a step forward, ready to confront the man threatening not just her performance, but the possibility of a community where performers like Emma could thrive. But he hesitated. What would that confrontation mean for Emma? Would it cast a shadow over her beautiful moment? The night felt charged with both triumph and uncertainty. Emma stood at the edge of exuberance, ready to embrace whatever came next. But could triumph truly be her own if the battle for her dreams had only just begun? As the spotlight dimmed, Emma's heart raced again, not from the performance, but from the realization that the stakes had only gotten higher. Would she have to face the benefactor's wrath? And what would it mean for her dream of dancing freely, for her, and for kids like her? The questions hung in the air, a bittersweet reminder that while she had stepped into the light, shadows still lingered nearby, waiting for their chance to intervene. Would she rise above, or would she be drawn back into the darkness? The applause faded slowly, but Emma's heart still raced. Each clap felt like a heartbeat echoing in her chest, a reminder that she had just stepped into a world that was hers to explore. But even as she reveled in her victory, she could feel the chill of the benefactor's glare weighing heavy in the air. Turning toward the backstage, she spotted Mark still lingering near the wings, a storm brewing in his eyes. Emma took a step closer, drawn to him like a moth to a flame, needing his reassurance. He held his ground, his fists clenched, caught between pride for her staggering performance and the looming threat of the man watching them. "Mark," she called softly, urgency threading her voice. "What are you thinking?" "Just trying to figure out how to protect you," he replied, his tone strained. "That man isn't just here to watch, he has got other plans." Emma nodded, understanding swelling up inside her. The benefactor's presence, usually overshadowed by flashy clothes and equal parts charm, reminded her that dreams weren't fought easily. The world outside the stage wasn't as simple as her dance. There were risks involved, glaring eyes, sharp criticisms, and people who could just as easily tear down what they built up. "Whatever he wants, it won't stop me," Emma said firmly, squaring her shoulders. This is my moment. I won't let him take that from me. Mark softened at her resolve. It was a spark of that fearless girl he had watched grow, one who wouldn't back down. You're right. You deserve this. Just promise me you'll stay safe. Just then, the benefactor broke through the crowd toward them, his expression inscrutable, but his intent clear as crystal. Emma drew in a steadying breath. This was the moment of truth, not just a test of her talent, but of her spirit. She had to stand her ground. Emma! The benefactor boomed, his voice slicing cleanly through the hum of post-performance excitement. Impressive showing tonight, but we need to have a talk. Mark stepped forward instinctively, blocking Emma from view, muscles taut. You need to back off, he said, each word laced with fire. You're not welcome here. The benefactor's eyes narrowed, but there was a wicked smile creeping onto his lips. Oh, but I think you both need to hear what I have to say. The future of dance here could be very bright, or quite dark. Emma could feel a knot forming in her stomach. The benefactor spoke of dreams, but meant to twist them with a threat. Why do you want to destroy what we've built? She interjected, her voice steady as she took a step beside Mark. You think you can scare me into submission? The benefactor's smirk vanished for an instant, replaced by disbelief. Didn't he expect her to stand up to him? It was dizzying to see the way her defiance rattled him. Mark looked at her, eyes wide, pride blooming but mingled with concern. This wasn't only about dance anymore. This was about everything she had ever fought for, the countless hours of practice, the battles against doubt. Meet me in my office tomorrow, the benefactor spat, trying to reestablish power over the moment. We'll discuss what your future might hold if you're smart. As he turned, Emma felt an unexpected surge of confidence pulse through her. You're going to regret that, she called after him, the fire in her chest igniting brighter than ever. Mark looked at her, and for the first time, he didn't just see a dancer, he saw a warrior. Emma, you know he is capable of influencing so much a determination course through her. I do, and that's why I have to fight back. I'm not letting anyone define my future but me. Just as she turned to grab her things, the realization hit her. Tomorrow could change everything. It wasn't just about defense anymore. It was a chance to claim her space, her dreams, and her voice. As she walked away from the spotlight's glow, ready to face whatever lay ahead, she glanced back at Mark. No matter what comes next, we'll face it together. But in the intense silence that followed, she couldn't shake the feeling that tomorrow would be the hardest fight they'd ever had. What would she have to sacrifice to protect what she loved most? And was she prepared for the truth that awaited her? With her heart pounding, she stepped into the uncertain future, the shadow of the benefactor looming in her mind. A new battle was on the horizon, and Emma had to decide if she was ready to wage war for her dreams. Would her heartbeat drown out the fear, or would doubt tip the scales against her? Emma stood in front of the mirror in her small apartment, her reflection staring back at her, a mixture of excitement and trepidation swirling within. The glimmering costumes from the night before hung in the background, remnants of the applause still echoing in her ears. But she knew what lay ahead was going to challenge everything she thought she understood about herself and her dreams. She smoothed the fabric of her dress, feeling the coolness against her skin. Today could set the course for her future. Would she get a chance to speak her truth? Or would the benefactor twist her words, making her feel small again? Mark hadn't left her side all night, his presence a comforting shield against the looming threat. He'd gone home only to return early, standing in her doorway with a serious expression. I'll go with you. You shouldn't face him alone, he insisted. Thank you, but I need to do this on my own, she replied, her voice steadier than it felt. I need him to see the real me. The air crackled with anticipation as she hugged Mark tightly. I will call you right after. I promise. With each beat of her heart, she reminded herself that this was about more than just dance. It was about claiming her voice, her identity, and silencing the doubts that had lingered for too long. As she stepped into the grand building where the benefactor's office stood, the walls felt like they were closing in. The buzzing energy of the hall contrasted sharply with the weight of her mission. Each footstep felt louder, the sound echoing like a countdown. When she reached the door, it felt heavier than expected. Taking a deep breath, she knocked, and the benefactor's voice drifted through. "Come in." The office was oppressively large, ornate yet cold. He sat behind a massive desk, fingers steepled, as he surveyed her with that infuriating smile. "You decided to show up, I see." His eyes glinted with a mixture of arrogance and curiosity, clearly excited about the power move that lay before them. "I'm here because I want to talk," Emma said, forcing her voice to be steady. He leaned back in his chair, the smirk never leaving his face. "And I would love to hear what you have to say. But let us be honest, you're in over your head, aren't you?" Emma swallowed hard, feeling the familiar knots tighten in her stomach. "I've worked too hard to let anyone, least of all you, diminish my dreams. You have no idea what this means to me." "Oh, but I do," he cut in, leaning forward, fingers tapping on the desk. "I can make you a star, you know. But it's going to cost you, and not just money." Her heart dropped at the implication, a gnawing fear taking root. He was offering her the world, but expectantly clutching at her soul. "I want to sacrifice who I am for a moment of glory." His expression changed, shifting from amusement to something darker. "And that, my dear, is the problem. You can't play in this world without paying the price." Emma felt anger bubbling up inside her. "What you don't understand is that I already have a cost in mind. My passion, my hard work, it's worth fighting for." "What a fiery spirit you have," he taunted. "But tell me this, how long can you withstand the burn? Your passion won't pay the bills, and dreams are only dreams without a solid foundation." She inhaled sharply as doubts began to creep in. Was he right? Did she truly have what it takes to withstand the fire? Memories of late-night practices and lost friends resurfaced, reminding her of every sacrifice made. But amidst the heaviness, she felt a flicker of strength. "This isn't just about me anymore. I know the price I'm willing to pay. And I want to let you redefine it." He raised an eyebrow, genuinely intrigued. "Very well. What if you shock me? What if you prove that you're different from all the others I've come across?" Could she? In that moment, Emma felt herself standing at a crossroads. She could either back down or rise to the challenge. Taking a deep breath, she squared her shoulders, ready to fight. "Let us make a deal then," she said. "But I'm not just a pawn in your twisted game. You want to see what I can do? Bring it on. But be prepared, I won't back down easily." As she spoke those words, a surge of courage enveloped her. This was at a moment that could either shatter her or give her wings. Would she discover the strength to face the man who pulled the strings, or would his influence pull her under? The air was thick with tension as she awaited his response, knowing full well that this was the beginning of a confrontation she never anticipated. Emma realized her tomorrow was more uncertain than ever, but she wouldn't shy away. She was ready to love her fight now more than ever. The stage was set, and the next move would determine everything. The silence hung heavy between them, stretching moments that felt like hours. Emma's heart raced, the rhythmic pounding a potent reminder that she was alive, that she still had a choice. The benefactor's eyes glinted with a mix of surprise and interest. It was a dangerous combination, but Emma wouldn't let herself be intimidated. "I appreciate your boldness," he finally replied, leaning back, fingers still steepled. "But you need to understand the rules. You can't just waltz in here tossing around bravado without the ability to back it up." Emma locked her gaze onto his, channeling every ounce of confidence she could muster. "Show me your rules, and I'll show you what I'm made of." He chuckled softly, a sound that sent chills down her spine. "All right then. I want to see your passion, your art in action. A private performance. You'll have 1 hour to impress me, and if you fail," his grin widened, the edge of menace creeping in. "Well, let us not think about that yet. You could surprise me." A swell of defiance surged within Emma. This was not just a chance to dance. This was a way to reclaim her narrative. She nodded, determined but focused. "Fine. Give me a moment." Stepping away from the desk, she allowed the chaos in her mind to settle. She had been rehearsing for this moment for years, yet now it felt surreal. As she paced, muscles taut with anticipation, fragments of her last performance flickered like film reels in her mind. The rhythm of her movements, the way the music intertwined with her emotions, it was everything she was and aspired to be. "Are you ready?" the benefactor prompted, an arrogance lacing his tone. Drawing in a deep breath, Emma closed her eyes briefly, grounding herself. The world around her fell away as she began to envision the dance fluid, powerful, and raw. She felt the energy gather at her fingertips, igniting her spirit. With a nod, she opened her eyes and stepped into the small, makeshift space across from him. "Let us do this," she said, her voice steady. He leaned back again, arms crossed. "Go ahead. Show me what you've got." As the music began, every note resonated within her. It was a melody that spoke of struggles and triumphs, of defiance against doubt. Emma transformed, the moment she craved blooming into life. She poured herself into the dance, each leap and twist an embodiment of her fervor. Her movements became a story, one of passion igniting her soul, of hard work manifesting into fierce beauty. She may have danced alone, but every beat echoed her journey, connected her to every ounce of hope she harbored. The air vibrated with emotion as each step resonated throughout the room, and for the first time in a long while, Emma felt invincible. The benefactor watched, a flicker of something shifting in his eyes. Was it recognition? Or merely curiosity? As she spun, her heart soared higher, gliding on the wings of her dreams. Every moment built upon the last, the fire within her glowing brightly. But as she reached the climax, muscles screaming with exertion, a part of her couldn't shake the weight of the looming judgment. Finally, she landed in a final pose, breathless but electrified. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped the room. Then, the benefactor began to clap slowly. "You do have something," he said, the disappointment in his tone mixed with genuine surprise. "But is it enough? You had your moment. Now comes the real test." Her heart dropped as his words pierced through the pride she felt. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward again, measuring her with a calculating gaze. "This was just your introduction, Emma. Now, let us see if you can handle the pressure of what it truly means to shine in this business. Are you ready for the next step?" His question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Emma knew the potential for something incredible had been sparked, but what price would it demand? Could she continue holding on to herself in a world that often demanded sacrifice? As doubts began to creep in, Emma took a deep breath. The night had only just begun, and she sensed this was only the opening act of the greatest challenge yet. The real question loomed: was she willing to face the truth of who she was? And perhaps more importantly, would she find out what it would cost her to no longer be afraid? Emma stood there, heart racing, caught in the web of the benefactor's gaze. The applause faded, replaced by a heavy expectation that settled deep inside her, knotting her stomach. She could feel the weight of his scrutiny, like a spotlight illuminating her flaws. She had danced valiantly, but would her fervor be enough? "What do you want from me?" Her voice trembled slightly, betraying the confidence she fought to rebuild. The benefactor leaned forward, fingers threaded together, as he studied her. Everyone in this industry is talented, Emma. Talent is just the starting point. I need to see your heart, your willingness to sacrifice for the art. Questions swirled in her mind. What kind of sacrifice was he talking about? She had given so much already, years of sweat, pain, and determination. Wasn't he that enough? What does that even mean? She asked, unable to keep the edge of frustration from creeping in. It means this isn't just about how you perform. It's about how far you're willing to go to make your mark. His expression softened ever so slightly, as if he understood the dilemma she was facing. I've seen some rise to greatness, and others crumble under the pressure. You have the potential. But potential means little if you're not ready to face the storms ahead. The storm. Emma's heart raced again, this time with fear. What if she couldn't handle it? What if the weight of expectations crushed her, just like it had once before? Is this your way of testing me? To see if I break? She shot back. Her pulse was quickening, the heat rising within her. He smiled, the kind of smile that danced between menace and intrigue. Perhaps. Or perhaps I simply want to see if you can fly after you've learned to fall. The air thickened around her. The thought of failing made her hands tremble slightly. But there was a fierce spark igniting inside her. She had faced worse. She had fought for every dance opportunity, clawed her way past rejection and disappointment. She wasn't going to let this man dictate her worth. I want to break. The words slipped from her lips, stronger than she felt inside. I'll face whatever comes next. Good, he replied, leaning back with a satisfied grin. Then let us put your resolve to the test. Before she could respond, he pressed a button on his desk. A door across the room opened, revealing a small group of people. They entered, eyes wide, nervous chatter filling the air. Emma's breath caught in her throat. They were dancers just like her. Talented, hungry, and ready for their moment, but they were here because they couldn't make it on their own. Just like her. Welcome to the trial, the benefactor said, the glint in his eyes unmistakably gleeful. Your first challenge will start now. Work together. Show me the lengths you'll go to, not just for yourselves, but for the team. Let us see if you can lift one another up. Emma looked at the others, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. What if she wasn't enough? What if their dreams were tethered to the same fears that kept haunting her? The nerves flooded through her body. But she could see the fire in the others' eyes, the same yearning she recognized in her own. They were ready to take the plunge. As the group huddled together, an unspoken bond began to form in that charged space. Each dancer shared stories of their struggles and victories, the triumphs they fought for, turning their fears into fuel. What if they could build something beautiful together? Emma stepped closer, eyes sparkling with determination. Let us rise to the occasion together. Show him how strong we are. Just as they seemed to take heart from her words, the benefactor interjected, This won't be easy. Only the strongest will survive. The air was electric now, the stakes apparent. Emma's heart thudded a new rhythm, the pulse of excitement mingling with apprehension. She could feel the challenge spiraling ahead of her like a gaping mouth ready to swallow them whole. But maybe, just maybe, this storm would ignite a fire within her. Maybe this was the chance she never knew she needed. Would she discover the strength to soar above the challenges waiting to crash down around her? And what if, in the process, she uncovered the deep scars of her past that still clung to her soul? The room was alive with energy, charged with a blend of anxiety and hope. Emma looked around at the other dancers, all of them equally vulnerable yet brimming with a shared resolve. She could feel the weight of their gazes, each one a reflection of the drive to prove themselves. All right, Emma said, breaking the silence. Let us form a circle. We can kick things off by sharing our strengths and weaknesses. It might help us decide how to tackle this challenge as a team. Nervous whispers filled the air. One girl, with bright red hair tied tightly in a bun, stepped forward. "My name is Mia. I excel at choreography, but struggle with expressive performances. I sometimes hold back." She looked down as if ashamed. Emma smiled encouragingly. "That is brave, Mia. We all have our battles. Being vulnerable is part of the process. Let us lift each other rather than crumble under pressure." A boy with broad shoulders named Jason spoke next. "I'm solid with technique, but can't seem to connect with the audience. It feels like I'm just going through the motions." "Me too," someone muttered, and Emma's heart ached at the honesty in their fear. The introductions continued, each dancer revealing their challenges and dreams. It was as if the walls they carried were slowly being dismantled by their shared vulnerabilities. When it was Emma's turn, she hesitated. Memories scurried to the surface, shadows of doubt creeping in. "I'm Emma." Her voice wavered slightly. "I'm passionate and driven, but I sometimes doubt if I'm talented enough. There were moments in my past when I felt like giving up." An understanding murmur rippled through the circle. It was comforting yet unnerving, a reminder that everyone faced their own demons. "Let's not focus on our doubts," Emma urged, a flicker of determination igniting inside her. "We're all here for a reason. Each of us has something to bring to the table, and together, we're stronger." With newfound synergy, they started brainstorming ideas. The room buzzed with creativity, laughter mingling with moments of reflection. They tried out different moves and expressions, testing each other as they wove dance into a narrative of their collective journey. Every twist and turn was met with encouragement, every stumble a chance to learn. As the hours slipped by, the dancers began to create their unique piece, a tapestry of their fears, triumphs, and aspirations. Emma found herself at the center, both leading and supporting, exuding energy that surprised even herself. It was exhilarating, but amid the joy, dark thoughts whispered in her mind. What if they failed? The benefactor's words loomed like a storm cloud, threatening to overshadow their hard work. Would the pressure prove too much? "Focus," she reminded herself. If they could face their fears together, then maybe she could embrace hers too. As they rehearsed, Emma's body responded instinctively, weaving between the others like a delicate thread connecting them. Each leap felt lighter, every spin full of hope. They were no longer just individuals. They were a team rising above expectations. And for the first time, she felt a sense of belonging that she had longed for. Just when it seemed they might have it all, the benefactor walked in. His presence felt electric, an anchor to the chaos swirling around them. He crossed his arms, an unreadable expression on his face, as he watched their rehearsal unfold. Emma's heart raced again, panic tightening in her chest. Will it be enough? She wondered, but then she saw the glimmer in his eyes. Maybe he, too, recognized the spirit of resilience that had ignited within them all. And then, as if reading her mind, he made a simple request. "Show me what you can truly create." In that moment of uncertainty, with the weight of expectations pressing down, Emma found her voice. This was their chance to redefine their limits, each heartbeat echoing with the rhythm of possibilities. Would they rise together, or would this thrilling opportunity become another moment lost to the shadows of doubt? Emma's determination surged. She was ready to find out. The music began softly, pouring into the room like a gentle wave. Emma felt it wrap around her, melding with the energy pulsating from the dancers. This was it. This was their moment to shine. She glanced around the circle, meeting the eyes of her teammates, each one shimmering with a mix of excitement and fear. "Let us do this," she called out, her voice brimming with conviction. The others nodded, their faces setting into expressions of determination. They launched into their routine, a raw and honest portrayal of their journey. Each movement captured their fears, their tears, their laughter. Emma felt the weight of every story told within each leap and turn. Mia's strong lines and sharp contrasts blended seamlessly with Jason's fluidity, creating a symphony of art in motion. As they danced, Emma found herself lost in the rhythm. Her body spoke a language she never knew it could convey. She remembered the nights spent in front of the mirror, pouring her heart into each move, while the world outside felt so detached. Now, in this moment, it all made sense. They were each other as mirrors, reflecting strength back at one another. But just as their momentum soared, Emma caught sight of the benefactor again. His eyes were trained intently on them, analyzing every step. She felt her heart stutter. Self-doubt seeped back, a shadow in the light. What if it wasn't enough? What if the passion they poured into their movements didn't translate to something worthy in his eyes? The music swelled, and Emma lost herself in a powerful spin. She remembered what she had shared earlier about her own doubts. Those words fed her resolve. She wasn't going to let fear steal this moment from her or her team. Another round of music erupted, and they transitioned into the second part of their piece. This was where their stories collided. They reached for one another, forming a web of connection. Emma pulled Mia and Jason into a group hug, inspiring them with her smile. It was as if their fears melted away, replaced by the unity they had built. With every movement, they began to uncover layers that had been hidden. A clumsy kick turned into an elegant flourish. A shaky lift became ascendant. Laughter intermingled with the choreography, breaking the tension that had threatened to stifle their spirits. From the corner of her eye, Emma noticed the benefactor's expression change. The intensity in his gaze softened, and for a moment, she thought she detected a hint of admiration. Her heart swelled. Perhaps they truly were tapping into something beautiful, something real. But just as they neared the climax of their performance, the music suddenly cut off, plunging the room into silence. Emma froze, adrenaline thrumming in her veins. They were so close. Again! The benefactor's voice rang out, firm but laced with encouragement. That was genuine, but let us dig deeper. Trust yourselves to express every part of your story. Emma took a steadying breath. This was a time to break through barriers, to take it all to the next level. But how? Would they trust each other enough to lay bare their hearts right in front of him? With renewed energy, they huddled once more, a quick exchange of determined glances promising to hold each other steady. Emma smiled, feeling fiercer than before. They had discovered a spark within themselves, and now it was time to set it ablaze. But as the music began again, Emma wondered, could they truly find the strength to express all their vulnerabilities in just a matter of moments? Would the benefactor see them not just as dancers, but as a group of dreamers bound by the fearless pursuit of passion? With fire in her belly and determination in her heart, Emma stepped forward, ready to push past her limits. She could feel the others fanning out behind her, a breathtaking wave ready to crash together. The music surged back to life, enveloping the room like a vibrant blanket. Emma felt the beat pulse through her bones, igniting every part of her as she launched into a fresh sequence. This was their opportunity, an unfiltered chance to express everything bubbling inside them. Her movements became sharper, each extension of her limbs a declaration of resilience. As she twirled, she stole a glance at Mia and Jason. They mirrored her energy, matching her intensity. It was almost as if they were no longer just performing. They were healing, soaring, living through art. The benefactor stood at a distance, arms crossed and brow furrowed, but Emma refused to let his presence overshadow their moment. She focused only on her teammates. They were a unit, tethered by shared experiences and collective hope. The applause was no longer merely for the performance. It was a reflection of their journey together. With a dash of daring, Emma leaned into the next movement, a powerful leap that seemed to defy gravity. She was no longer worried if the benefactor would see her, or them, as just dancers. They were storytellers, showing the world their rawest truths. But then, A ripple of uncertainty washed over her. What if, despite their efforts, they missed the mark? What if the downside of emotions reached him, leaving no room for understanding? Just as her heart began to falter, she spotted Mia's fierce determination radiating right back at her. Jason nodded, igniting confidence in Emma that they would pull through, that they'd remember this moment as something beautiful. They flowed into the next series of movements. Laughter erupted involuntarily as Mia attempted a daring lift and tripped. Instead of faltering, she and Jason turned it into a comical moment, a spark of joy cutting through the air. Each slip brought them closer, each laugh was a thread stitching their stories tighter together. As they approached the climactic finale, Emma's breath quickened, but there was no fear now. Just trust. Their bodies entwined in a final pose, arms stretching wide to reach for the sky. They were embracing the unknown, inviting the audience into their world of vulnerability. The music began to fade gently, and with it, they released their hold, their posture opening to the onlookers. Silence settled in, heavy yet expectant. Emma's heart raced. She felt raw, exposed yet filled with a light she hadn't known before. And then, the room erupted, applause crashing down like waves. Emma's breath hitched. The benefactor stood with wide eyes, clapping enthusiastically. There was no distancing judgment now, only admiration painted across his face. "Oh, this is incredible!" he exclaimed, breaking into a genuine smile. A wave of relief washed over Emma, filling the spaces where fear used to reside. They huddled together, barely containing their excitement amid the heartfelt applause. "Did you see that? We did it!" Mia squealed, and they jumped around as a group, shouts of victory filling the air. But just as the jubilation was settling, the benefactor stepped forward, his features somehow serious again. "I want to help you further, but you need to dig deeper. There's a potential we haven't uncovered yet." Emma's heart sank slightly, but then courage surged back. They had just shown so much of themselves, could they possibly reveal more? As the laughter faded, a hefty stillness hung in the air. Had they truly reached the edge of their vulnerability? What deeper layers lay beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? Their eyes met, each searching for the strength of collective dreams. They grasped hands, an unspoken promise forming. Ready or not, they would take that leap into the unknown together again. The benefactor's words echoed in Emma's mind, sending a shiver down her spine. What if the next step could propel them to heights they'd never imagined? Emma stood at the edge of the stage, her heart fluttering like the last leaves of autumn, caught between the exhilaration of victory and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. Their performance had been a revelation, a raw expression of dreams and fears twined together like vines. The applause still thundered in her ears, a chorus of triumph, yet the benefactor's eyes bore into her like a spotlight, intense and unyielding. "Emma," he said, his voice conjuring a hush in the room, "you and your team showed incredible passion. But can you dig deeper? Can you uncover even more of yourselves?" A wave of apprehension washed over her, but alongside it surged a fierce determination. She exchanged glances with Jason and Mia, whose faces reflected the same blend of fear and resolve. They had faced their doubts together, and now they would face this challenge. "Yes," Emma said, her voice steady. "We can." As the benefactor gestured to the empty stage, she felt the weight of the moment pressing down, heavy yet freeing. They had just shown the world their stories. This next layer would demand raw honesty. Stepping forward together, Emma reached out and took Jason and Mia's hands. Importantly, they formed a circle of strength in vulnerability. "Let us share the hardest moments," Emma suggested, her voice firm yet soft. "The things we've never told anyone." A nervous laugh escaped Mia. "Right here? As we dance?" "Why not?" Emma replied, an eager smile breaking through. "Let us turn our pain into power." Jason nodded. Together, The three shared snippets of their pasts as they stretched, finding solace in each other's vulnerability. They spoke of struggles with self-worth, feelings of isolation, and dreams that had at times felt just beyond reach. Each story sparked a new idea for their choreography, a new movement inspired by a struggle, every leap a declaration, every twist a revelation. "Let us embody these emotions on stage," Mia said, her excitement growing. "We'll show him who we truly are." The room buzzed with creative energy as they danced, daring to push boundaries in their movements. Each moment felt like peeling back layers, each step a testament to their resilience. They created a visual narrative, a depiction of falling down only to rise up again, igniting a fire that would burn brighter with each rotation and pivot. Finally, the time came to present their revised piece to the benefactor. As they positioned themselves on the stage, Emma's heart thudded, a rapid drumbeat of determination. This was it. They would reveal everything they held dear. The music began softly, almost like a whisper, before exploding into life. Emma led the dance, channeling every loss, every fear of inadequacy, turning sorrow into strength. Here they were, flawed and imperfect, yet iridescent under the stage lights, weaving the essence of their hearts into a tapestry of movement. As Mia spun, the weight of her insecurities transformed into grace. When Jason leaped, he defied the gravity of judgment, touching the sky with dreams unfurled. As the performance climaxed, they spun into each other's arms, lifting one another, symbolizing how they had all carried the weight together. The music swelled. Emma could feel each heartbeat resonating in the air, the tension, the release, the profound understanding that they were all capable of greatness when united. And there it was, the benefactor's expression shifted from analytical to engaged, his usual aloofness replaced by palpable admiration. The applause roared, cascading over the stage like a wave, washing away every doubt they had ever felt. The four figures on the stage glimmered with possibility, confirmation that their chosen paths were worthy. Then he approached them, eyes gleaming. "That was incredible. You've shown me what true passion looks like. I want to help you take this further. Together, we can create something that elevates not just your dance, but the lives of others." Caught in a moment of disbelief, Emma glanced at Jason and Mia. She felt a swell of gratitude. They hadn't just fought for their dreams, they had carved a pathway for others just like them. "Yes!" Emma exclaimed, the excitement bursting forth. "We'll share this. We'll give other kids their moment to shine, just like we did." The benefactor nodded, a genuine smile breaking through. "Exactly. This is only the beginning." As they stood together, hearts beating in unison, Emma knew the journey ahead wouldn't be without challenges. But together, they would thrive, and Emma realized this was more than just about dance. It was about unconditional support, about lifting spirits and unearthing hidden dreams. This was their moment, and they would seize it with every ounce of strength they had. They were more than dancers. They were a family, and nothing could dim the light they ignited through resilience and love. Turning to the crowd, the applause still echoing, Emma held her head high. She had found her voice, and now they would amplify it for all to hear. It was a new dawn, and the world was theirs to dance into. Don't you dare forget, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and outshine that negativity. Comment below your reactions, your feelings about this incredible ending, and the transformations that inspired you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. You need to support the channel because true fans understand the power of connection and sharing stories that uplift. Don't wait not even one more second.